So process improvement approach is very, very important, right? Anything you wanted to improve, yes, you need to work at the process level. Process means set of activities that will convert your input into output. Set of activities that will convert your input into output. There are two parameters with respect to your process. One is effectiveness, another one is efficiency. Effectiveness means the ability of a process to produce defect-free output. What is effectiveness? The ability of a process to produce defect-free output. Let us say you are running a process. You produced 100 units. Out of the 100 units, 90 units are accepted in the quality checking. But 10 units got rejected. What is the effectiveness now? Is it 100%?
No.
90%.
90%.
We want to know effectiveness close to 100%. Six Sigma, once you bring up a process to a level of effectiveness called Six Sigma level, we call it Six Sigma capability. Once you bring up a process to Six Sigma capability, the effectiveness will be close to 100%, 99.999%. What is the success rate? A Six Sigma capability can assure 99.999%. If there are any defects, definitely the defects will be less than 3.4 DPMO. The defects will be definitely less than 3.4 DPMO, where DPMO stands for defects per million opportunities. Right after my session, you are going to have a live activity, live exercise, where you will be calculating DPMO using the GEMS chocolates, right? So process effectiveness, if at all any defects happening, you need to immediately understand your process effectiveness is not sufficient. Hope all of you understand. If your process effectiveness is not sufficient, that's the reason why rejections are happening. So you can measure the effectiveness of the process in any manner that you want. Right now, we understood one thing, 90% percentage. This is called yield. This is called yield. You can call it yield, or some companies, they measure the process effectiveness using a metric called CP and CPK. CP and CPK. Some companies use DPMO. Some companies use PPM. Some companies straight away call it rejection percentage, because rejection percentage is nothing but 1 minus your yield, right? If your yield is 90%, rejection is 10%. So ultimately, all of them gives the same interpretation. Sigma level, yield, rejection, PPM, DPMO, CPCPK, all are interconnected. If you understand the relationship, you can use any metric, right? So fundamentally, defect is a result of process ineffectiveness. Defect is a result of process ineffectiveness. You design a process in a way that it will definitely produce defects. Then you will start seeing defects in your output. On the other side, process efficiency. Process efficiency means how much input your process is consuming. Is it consuming only the required amount of input, or it is consuming excessive amount of input? And this is called efficiency. If your process consumes exactly required amount of resource, your process is considered efficient. If a particular work can be completed in 10 minutes, but the process cycle time is 20 minutes, your process should be called an inefficient process. Because theoretically, within 10 minutes, the work can be completed. But actual cycle time is 10 minutes. The extra 10 minutes in the cycle time, is it wastage of resource? Definitely. Yes. Time is also a resource. Time is a resource. Money is a resource. Raw material is a resource. Manpower is a resource. Machinery is a resource. Floor space is a resource. Just ask yourself, are you monitoring all these things? What you can do in 100 square feet area, if the same thing can be done in just 50 square feet area, then also you are inefficient. So you need to understand the foundation about the effectiveness and the efficiency, so that you will see enormous scope for improvement. Try to calculate sales per square feet of your office space. Every square feet, how much sales you are making. So this way of thinking is called data-centric, Six Sigma thinking. At the same time, in any situation, effectiveness cannot be compromised. Because if you are compromising effectiveness, you are sending defective products to the market. Customer will definitely raise one day, right? So customer definitely will ask for the replacement. So effectiveness should never be compromised, but always efficiency must be optimized. Effectiveness means your products are defect free. It doesn't mean that you are profitable. Effectiveness means your products are defect free. It doesn't mean that you are profitable, because profitability, it is not only a function of effectiveness, it is also a function of your efficiency. What do you produce will appear in the effectiveness, but how do you produce will appear in your efficiency. Hope you understand, right? Effectiveness as well as efficiency, both are important. Now, Six Sigma evolved from a company called Motorola, the world's first manufacturer of the mobile phones. So why they actually introduced a new approach, Six Sigma, mainly to beat the competition they were feeling from the Japanese companies. Actually, the Japanese originally learned many things from the Americans, but later on they started giving a very tough competition in terms of the quality, productivity, and all aspect. And Motorola also sensed such a competition, and they started feeling that their market is going down, their sales going down, and their quality levels are going down. And so, in order to overcome the competition, they come out with a new idea, because they wanted a breakthrough improvement. Breakthrough improvement means something like improving your market share, doubling your market share, or doubling your profit, and these are called the breakthrough improvements. So Motorola also wanted to achieve breakthrough improvement. Their strategy was, their plan was to achieve 10 times growth in the next 5 years. The same statement: achieve 10 times growth in the next 5 years. You are seeing the CEO of the company here in my slide, Robert Bob Galvin. He exactly made this statement: 10 times growth in the next 5 years. And the responsibility was given to these two people. One is Bill Smith, an engineer. Another one is Dr. Michael Harry, a statistician. The combination of this engineering and statistical thinking gave birth to a new approach, which is called Six Sigma. And the reason behind Motorola introducing Six Sigma is their quality was stinking. It was going down, because they could see the business results also going down. This is what I mentioned. The chief executive Bob Galvin threw a challenge: 10-fold improvement in a span of 5 years. Why the responsibility was specifically assigned to Bill Smith? Because he already did some research. He studied that there is a correlation. Correlation means there is a relation. There is a relation between the extent of repair a product undergoes and its field life. You all know field life, right? A product, how long a product can remain in the working condition. That's a field life. That truly depends on amount of rework that it is going through before launching the product in the market. You all know rework. Rework means some defect happened and you are correcting it. The more the rework you are doing in your company, the lesser will be the field life. This is what he found. How many of you understand? The more the rework your product is going through within your factory, the lesser will be the field life. That means what the requirement is, you should produce right at the first time.
Yes.
That is the goal, right? So that's the reason why the responsibility was given to Bill Smith. And today we call him the father of Six Sigma. And Bill Smith and Michael Harry together, they developed a structured approach to correct all the existing failures, as well as to prevent the anticipated failures. There are two things. One is all the existing quality issues, they are able to fix. And another thing is what kind of quality issues that may come in the future. They have, they could even use Six Sigma for prevention. But the depth of understanding on the subject is required. so that you can use it for both purpose, correction as well as prevention. So Motorola, you can see the numbers behind Motorola, the turnover, the manpower, the location. And before the mobile phones, they also introduced pagers. You can see it. And the reason for embracing Six Sigma is stiff competition, especially from the Japanese companies. And moreover, the motivation is they wanted to become world leaders in manufacturing of communication products, such as the pagers and mobile phones. Another company which adopted Six Sigma in the earlier stage is ABB, Asia Brown Boveri, a Swedish-based company which is into robotics as well as electrical equipment, heavy electrical equipment manufacturing. Their reason is, they knew that their performance is below average. They understood that they are well below the world-class performance. See, they are not settling with what they are currently doing. They are comparing their performance with respect to the world-class performances, and they understood that they are well below. And moreover, their defect levels is 60% higher than the competitor. Their rejections are not 60%, but it is 60% higher than the competitors. It can be less than 2%, it can be less than 1%. But your competitor has, a better rejection rate than you, and your competitors making more profit. Tell me, is your competitor making profit more than you? Is it a problem for your company? Definitely, isn't it, right? So, yes, definitely. So this is how you should think to welcome Six Sigma. Otherwise, you will never be able to appreciate, all these tools and all these approaches, and then it will be utter flop if you try to implement. And scenario number 3, General Electric medical system. Their issue is one of the scanner they introduced in the market, the speed is very, very slow when compared to the competitors. It takes 3 minutes to complete a particular scanning, but for the same requirement, the competitors' products were, able to complete the scan in less than 30 seconds. So, and moreover, the bulb failure, which is a costlier component in the scanner, and there were 20 million bulbs failing prior to shipment annually. And you can see, imagine, the cost of poor quality there, right? 20 million bulbs annually. And every bulb is costing about $60,000. Now, if you multiply by the 20 million, imagine the cost of poor quality. So that is the reason why General Electric adopted Six Sigma. Actually, when Six Sigma was introduced in Motorola, it had only 4 stages: measure, analyze, improve, and control. That happened in 1987. In 1995, when General Electric implemented Six Sigma, they improvised the Six Sigma methodology from 4 stage to 5 stage. MAIC was improved to DMAIC. The define was added in front of the Mac only by a team of General Electric headed by the CEO, Jack Welch, right? So it is 1995. Six Sigma methodology got the shape of DMAIC. Even today, it remains DMAIC, near about, 3 decades. Close to 3 decades. So these are the results these company achieved. Motorola achieved a saving of $2.2 billion every year in manufacturing and $1 billion in non-manufacturing. Please notice the word manufacturing as well as non-manufacturing. At the time of introduction itself, Six Sigma was applied in both manufacturing as well as non-manufacturing. What are the non-manufacturing departments within your company? The accounts, sales, logistics, supply chain, warehouse. These Six Sigma can be applied in all areas, not necessarily in the manufacturing. If you are working in a service industry, you are working in a pharma industry, healthcare industry, or you are working in an education industry, yes, you will still be able to apply Six Sigma and benefit out of it. All that required is proper understanding on the approach and the tools and techniques. So ABB, 68% reduction in the defect level, 30% reduction in the production cost, $898 million saving every year, and spending $500 million because Six Sigma implementation is little costlier. You need infrastructure, mainly in the form of Six Sigma bells. If you want to float, let's say 10 projects, you need at least 30, 40 green bells. Now, cost of developing 30, 40 green bells, yes, it is a one-time investment, but the training cost and then the project execution cost, and that will be there. So spending $500 million, General Electric, they got back $2 billion in 1 year and then $12 billion in 5 years. These are all the numbers picked up from the balance sheet from those companies. So what is Six Sigma then? Six Sigma is an operational excellence model. Six Sigma is an aggressive campaign. Aggressive campaign means everyone in the company is working towards a single goal. Like all of us here, we are going to work for 1 month. All of us here, we are going to work for 1 month. What is our focus? We wanted to master the DMAIC methodology. We wanted to learn all the tools and techniques so that all of us can, be successful in the assessment or whatever. So such a drive should be there within your company, so that the resources remain synergized, like Stephen Covey was mentioning. All the efforts are put in the same direction. Otherwise, what happened? Too many projects in different direction will end up producing nothing. If you are doing 100 projects, make sure all 100 projects move your company only in the strategic direction, so that the results required will be achieved. But it will take time, 3 years sometimes, 5 years time sometimes. Such a drive towards attaining the long-term goals of the top management is known as operational excellence. Ultimately, it will boost the profitability. It will increase the market share, improve the customer satisfaction. And the strategic focus is on quality, right? And the benefits are customer satisfaction, cost reduction, legal compliance, and everything, will automatically will be set right. This is the kind of infrastructure I was talking about. There are different belt levels: white belt, yellow belt, black belt, master black belt, champion, and sponsor. White belt means an awareness training, like what we had right now having today. A particular instant, you will say that, yes, sir, we are ready to deep dive into the subject. We are convinced about the Six Sigma's potential in achieving the business results. Once you are convinced, that moment you become a white belt. If you still have a doubt whether Six Sigma will work and all this Y equal F of X, is it necessary? Is that all the tools, techniques needs to be learned? If you are still doubtful, you have a long way to go in becoming the white belt. So always wherever we do the implementation, we make sure the top management is first of all convinced completely about the potential benefits of Six Sigma. That means they're all now white belts, because the support and blessings of the top management is very, very important to drive any project towards success. Otherwise, in spite of the best efforts by the team, the project can still fail miserably, isn't it? And then next level of proficiency, yellow belt. Yellow belt means intermediate level of proficiency. They will be called project assistants. You can compare them like against the nurses who are working in the hospital. Nurses also give treatment to the patients, but always as per the guidance of the medical doctors. Similarly, yellow belts will be working in the project, but always under the guidance of green and black belts. The green and black belts are project leaders. The green and black belts are project leaders. They have undergone a formal training, having the complete proficiency in the methodology as well as the tools and techniques. But the boundary line between green and black is green belt will work on small and mid-sized project. Green belt will work on small and mid-sized project, and project boundary should be within the department. Project boundary should be within the department. You are working in accounts. You are supposed to work in an improvement project within the accounts department. It is better not to work on a project which is cross-functional in nature. But some projects will definitely be, will have the complexity, involvement of many departments. You have to set things right, in many areas. The project is cross-functional and the complexity is very high. That becomes the candidate for black belt. The moment you transform yourself into a green or a black belt, you become 1 in 100. 100 people are coming there and you will definitely stand out from the average professionals. And the next immediate level is master black belt. So master black belt means he is part of the quality council within the company or part of the business excellence team within the company. He will work very closely with the top management. It is the master black belt who will be very instrumental in developing the KPIs. What are the KPIs at the top level, KPIs at the mid level, KPIs at the operational level, and the targets, KPIs, and all those will be developed by the quality council where the role of the master black belt is instrumental. A master black belt is also the person who will develop the belts required to drive improvement projects. That means you are like internal trainer, internal consultant to the company. And companies rely on appointed master black belts. Sometimes they hire master black belts, like, as a consultants. But ultimately, an MBB is required. And then champion as well as sponsor. These are nothing but the leadership team. It is the sponsor who has the authority to approve your project. Any project proposal, it should be supported with the required resources. And the person who has the authority to approve the project, he is known as project sponsor. It is the problem of the project sponsor the Six Sigma team is addressing. And then there is one more role, champion. Sponsor generally, is part of the top management. He can't spend, more time with the project team and may not participate, in all the meetings. So there will be one more delegation called the project champion, who will liaison between the project sponsor and the project team. He will ensure all the roadblocks the team is, coming across are removed, right? For example, timely allocation of resources. And sometimes, project will get extended, extra 1 month, extra budget is required. So the project sponsor will ensure, the smooth allocation of all the resources so that, the roadblocks are cleared. So this kind of infrastructure is absolutely essential, without which it is very, very difficult to drive the project to success, because you are handling a complex issue. The project team, though you are knowledgeable, though you are intelligent enough, though you have all the tools and techniques in your side, still the challenges are many. So the organization should first of all understand, right? And only with this kind of infrastructure and proper review meetings, projects can yield the result. So there has to be a seriousness in implementing Six Sigma. And otherwise, the implementation will be, a wasteful effort. So we have to be very, very careful that we create this kind of environment before proceeding, right? And there are different responsibilities. Just now I have explained. And since all of you are here for the green and black belt, I'm going to read out the responsibilities of a green belt and a black belt. He is supposed to lead the project. He will help the champion to select the team members. He is the one who will plan the team meetings. He will also lead the meetings. He will handle the meeting logistics and make recommendations or changes, right? And all other things you can read from the slides. I have already covered it in the previous slide. So what is Six Sigma? Six Sigma is a management philosophy by which you can meet the business objectives by reducing the defects, by reducing variation. Because variation is a defect is a result of variation. I do not know how many of you are able to digest my statement. Defects are due to the result of the variation in your process, right? So through variation, you can easily understand, whether your process is effective or not. Imagine we are conducting the training program. I also conduct an examination. And now all of you write the exam. Now I have a data in my hand. All your exam mark is with me. Now there is too much variation in the exam mark. What does it indicate? Does it indicate the training is very effective? Or does it indicate there is a problem with the effectiveness? If the variation, there is a problem. So the variation can talk about your effectiveness. If everybody is comfortably, more than 90, the variation is too less. Everybody has scored between 90 and 100. Variation is less. That means your program is super effective. Your process is very, very effective. So through variation, you can understand your process is effective or not. Similarly, the variation on the right side of your equation, which are the X factors. If there are too many variations in the X factors, definitely your Y factor will be under trouble. This is Six Sigma philosophy. It is fundamentally the variation that is causing defects. If you can control the variation, definitely you can prevent defects. If you can control the variation, you can prevent the defects. It is a disciplined data-driven methodology for decision making and process improvement. To improve the process performance, we need to decrease the variation as well as defects. Hope all the statements, the meaning is understood. Generally, any process that is designed and running naturally, it will follow a specific pattern, which you can see here, a bell shape. And here also there is a bell. The first bell curve is wider, but the second bell curve is narrower. Then this is called spread of the process. The spread is high here, the spread is low here. Spread low means variation is low. If the spread is high means variation is high. Let us say the lowest test mark of our students is, the lowest mark is 50 and the highest mark is 90. What is the spread here? 90 minus 50, 40. Suppose if the lowest mark is 85, highest mark is 90. What is the spread here? Just 5. Where is 40? Where is 5? This is your 40. This is your 5. And moreover, if I plot your test mark, definitely that will look like a bell curve. The 40 will be here, maybe here. The 40 will be here, 90 will be here. So what is the average score? Somewhere around 65. Am I correct? Many of the students would have scored around 65. That is why the curve is taking a peak around the average. Can you all see that? The curve is peaking at around the average?
Yes.
So,
yes.
If you take care of your average, if you can also take care of the spread of the process, it is as good as preventing the defects completely. Take care of the average. Maintaining a class average of 65 and maintaining a class average of 85. These are two different tasks. Isn't it? Yeah. If you want to maintain a class average of 85, then your teaching has to be at the next level. Your control over the students has to be at the next level. Your teaching is at the next level. How do I say? Because the center is at the appropriate position. How do I say your control over the students is at the next level? The spread is very less. Can you see both things here in the graph?
Yeah.
So any problem in any business can be understood by looking at two statistical measures. One is the central value, which is otherwise called as average. Another one is the spread. Spread can be measured using a statistical measure called standard deviation. It can be range, it can be standard deviation, it can be variance. We will be teaching you all of this. Ultimately, the goal is we want to be first time right always. A process that is having too much variation can easily go beyond the specification. A process that is having less variation, you can expect better control even in a longer term. Always the process will produce output within the specification. Hope all of you can understand the difference here.
Yes.
So this process capability is low, whereas this process capability is high. Why do I say the capability is high?
The spread is less.
The center is at the targeted value. And moreover, the spread is less. Two things are important to talk about the effectiveness. Where is the center? How much is the spread? Center should be on the target. Spread should be very minimum. So this is a higher capability. This is a lower capability. That is why sigma level is 2 sigma here. Sigma level is 6 sigma here. Maybe a little later, we'll talk about why it is 2, why it is 6. But right now, I would like to tell you one thing. Just compare the distance between the center and the nearest spec. Here also there is a distance. Here also there is a distance. If the distance is longer, your process is considered to have a higher capability. If the distance is smaller, easily your curve will go beyond that. If your curve is going beyond that, all the units beyond the specification will get rejected, right? You will better appreciate this when we discuss a case study on this. Probably that will happen tomorrow. So what is Six Sigma? Six Sigma is a metric. Six Sigma is a methodology. Six Sigma is a way of management. Six Sigma is a way of management. And Six Sigma is also a philosophy. You and me can use it for any purpose that we want to use. All that required is, a proper understanding on what do we really want to achieve, right? So why do we call it Six Sigma as a metric? It talks about your effectiveness. It gives you an effectiveness of 99.999%. The opposite metric is defects will be less than 3.4 DPMO, which means if you produce 1 million unit, you can at the maximum, you can see 3 or 4 defects. That's all. You produce 1 million units, at the maximum, you see only 3 or 4 defects. That's the meaning. Six Sigma has two methodology, DMAIC and DMAIC. Six Sigma is a way of management. Companies like Amazon, HCL, Caterpillar, and many, many bigger brands, they use Six Sigma as a way of management. They connect the career progress of the employees with the belt level. If you are a green belt, yes, you will be promoted. If you are a black belt, you will be promoted. If you are a master black belt, yes, you will be considered for the leadership role. So this kind of infrastructure, and always the Six Sigma belts are paid 30% higher than the non-belts. And there is a real reason behind it, because their ability to contribute to organization's growth is phenomenally, significantly high. So this can be applied in all industries without any doubt. You should be able to, understand the process. If the moment you know there is a process, yes, Six Sigma can be applied. The methodology: define, measure, analyze, improve, control. A problem well defined is half done. The problem is, first of all, considered to be defined if you can identify all the CTQs. The CTQs related to the problem, it can be one or many, but one by one we will solve. One by one we will solve. Like, for example, the concrete block, the strength is important, dimension is important, every CTQ is important. One by one we will solve, and finally my product will be acceptable. So a problem is considered to be defined if you can express the problem in a single number. That single number is nothing but CTQ. If CTQ identification itself is a problem, it simply means you have not understood the problem. Right? And once the define is done, you move on to measure. And now why I want to measure? I want to measure the baseline. What is the real ground reality? People are saying there is 10% rejection. Is it really 10%? Or is it only they are talking? So we need to collect data and validate the baseline. The purpose of measure is validate the baseline. And here the challenge is collecting error-free reading. There are two types of error always happen. One is measurement error. Another one is sampling error. You use the instrument wrongly, or you measure the characteristics wrongly. These are called measurement error. You collect the data from a wrong source. That is called sampling error. Both will spoil your data, and information that is contained in your data will be useless. So you have to limit the measurement error as well as sampling error. Measurement error should be less than 10%. Sampling error must be less than 5%. How to measure the measurement error, how to measure the sampling error, you will be learning in the course as we progress, right? With that, you get a clear picture of the ground reality, which is called baseline performance. Now analyze. I already spoke enough about analyze. Root cause identification, root cause validation, root cause relationship, root cause sufficiency. If you do all the 4 things, that is called analysis, not just creating a fishbone diagram and talking. If you are creating a fishbone diagram and talking, you are doing a qualitative analysis. But here we are talking about even the quantitative analysis. Now everything about the root cause is clear. Now you can talk about the solution. Generating a solution, otherwise known as treatment. Generating solution is also known as treatment. What is a treatment? You are optimizing your X. Why are you optimizing X? When I optimize my X, my Y will automatically get optimized. This is called treatment. This is called solution. And now we move on to control. In control, we will ensure, we will take corrective measures, or we will take control measures to ensure that the same problem doesn't come again. Since the root cause is understood, we will keep additional eye on the root cause. We will update our procedures. We will update our processes. On a daily basis, we will monitor the root cause. Why? So that the same problem cannot occur again. That is called a control plan, right? So now can you see a structured approach here? Define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. In define phase, you are talking about Y variable. How many of you noticed that? In define phase, we are talking about Y variable.
Yes.
Measure phase also, we are measuring the Y variable. It is only in the analyze phase, we started thinking about the X variables. In the improve phase, we are optimizing the X. In control phase, we are controlling the X because I have gained the knowledge. Through the project, I gained the knowledge. If I control the X, my Y will be automatically under control. If my daily habits are okay, my future will definitely be prosperous. This is the understanding. This is what is called, DMAIC methodology. So you can use it for any purpose. You have any challenge in your business, or even you have a health challenge. Yes, you will be able to deal very well. You should not necessarily be a medical doctor, to treat yourself. With this understanding, you can cooperate well, you can work well, and then you can recover from any kind of problem, right? So this methodology of DMAIC is carefully divided into 3 simple steps. Every phase we have carefully divided into 3 simple steps so that you can comfortably learn. If you have to make 15 feet jump in one go, yes, it will be difficult. But you can definitely jump, 15 times 1 feet. So your purpose is solved, right? So 15 simple steps will allow you to solve any problem. Problem can be defects, problem can be waste, problem can be risk. These 3 are the main killers in any business. One is defect. Either your organization will be having, too many rejections, too much rejection, or otherwise you might be highly inefficient, or the risk levels associated with the process might be very high. And you can kill all the 3 defects, waste, and the risk using this methodology. All that required is you should master 15 simple steps. I'm not going to read out the steps. Rather, we will be teaching you step by step. Right after the session, we will be going step by step. 15 simple steps. If you master, you will see the transformation. If you know what kind of activity you are supposed to do in every step, if you know what are you supposed to deliver at the end of every step, automatically you will know how to deliver results from a project. All the tools and techniques related to 15 steps, we will be teaching you one by one. Here is the mapping of the tools. And this is not a permanent one, but to the best of our abilities, these are the tools generally used in define phase. These are the tools in measure. These are the tools in analyze, improve, and control. But it doesn't mean that you can use the tool only here. Depending on the situation, you can use it wherever it is required. But generally, the flow will be like this. All these tools we are going to learn one by one. Hope all of you have understood, the session so far. And now let me check whether you have understood correctly. What is the focus of Six Sigma? You can
reduce defect.
Reduce
defects.
Reduce defects.
Reduce defect.
Very good, very good. Six Sigma originated from which company?
Motorola.
Excellent.
By Will Smith.
Who is known as father of Six Sigma?
Will
Smith.
Will Smith.
Oh, this
Bob Galvin.
question is repeated, but anyway, you answer.
Bob Galvin.
Bob
Reduce
Galvin. Bob
defect.
Galvin.
Bob Galvin.
No, Bill Smith, father of.
Will Smith.
This is over. Bill Smith is the correct answer, right?
Yeah, Bill Smith.
And one more. This
Bill
question we already answered. Let us not look at it. An organization want to improve their existing products. Which methodology they should use?
DMAIC.
DMAIC.
DMAIC, existing DMAIC.
DMAIC. What is the other name for DMAIC?
Design and verify, last 2 words.
DFSS.
DFSS.
Design
Design
for
for
Six
Six Sigma.
Sigma.
DMAIC is otherwise called as Design for Six Sigma.
Yeah.
What is missing here in the list of 7 habits as per Stephen Covey?
Proactiveness.
Proactive.
Proactive. Beautiful.
Prioritize.
Begin with an end.
Prioritize. Excellent.
Begin with an end.
Very good.
Huh.
Any project you want to do, you should know the end result. The project should have a clear goal, and any drive that you are starting in your company should have a clear goal, and the goal should be in line with the vision. That is called strategy, right? We will be talking more about the strategies, goals, and all those things in the MBB program. Effectiveness means, what do you know about effectiveness?
Process.
Reducing waste. No?
Reducing waste
Reducing
is not
defects, sir.
effectiveness.
No defects. Finding defects and errors.
No,
Eliminate
no
defects.
defect, no defect.
Producing
Defect-free,
defect-free
defect-free.
products.
Defects-free products.
Yeah,
reducing defects.
Offering defect-free services. Producing in general, producing defect-free output. That means you want to do right things. Doing right things. That is effectiveness. What is efficiency?
Reducing waste.
Reduction of waste.
Optimizing the
Wastage,
existing
reducing of
resources to
Optimizing the resources.
Optimizing the resources.
Yes, consuming only exactly required resources.
resources. Optimizing
Waste-free operations.
waste-free operations.
Your people are not involved in any unproductive activity. 8 hours, 8 hours, they stay productive. They stay productive throughout. That means doing right things in the right manner is efficiency.
Okay.
So doing right things is Six Sigma. Doing the right things in the right manner is Lean.
Lean.
Both are interconnected. This is like, the egg and the hen. Whether the egg came first or hen came first, we don't know. But the effectiveness and efficiency are also interconnected, and both are required in any business environment. So root cause analysis. What do you know about root cause analysis? Root cause analysis means you should identify the root cause. Am I right?
Original problem.
What else you should do to generate the solution?
The factors involved in it.
Analysis, DMAIC.
After root cause identification, you should do root cause validation.
Validation.
That must be
After root cause identification and validation, you should study about the root cause relationship.
Relationship.
After knowing the root cause relationship, you should also study about
Sufficiency.
root
You
cause
all in there?
sufficiency.
नाही ते डीसी वर पाठवायचे आणि बाकीचे जे नंबर दिले त्याच्यावरती पाठवायचे.
So that means these 4 things, you should have clarity on the 4 things so that you are now eligible to talk about the solution. Most of the time, we jump to the solution without doing all these things. That's the reason why our solutions are not appropriate and not bringing the results we want. If you take care of all these things, you will definitely be able to generate better solution. That's it from me. Hope the session brought some foundation knowledge, and hereafter we will be moving to the DMAIC methodology.